Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Monochromatic Stream. That was Jerry, my puppy, by the way. Just saw him there briefly. Yeah, and we're still missing Denny, but he is a good dog. He had his time. He's in doggy heaven chasing balls or something, I'm sure. The thing is about this particular scene is I kept thinking I did paint it once before and in full color, and it looked really good. It has a bit of a graphic sensibility and quality to it, just even from the way I sort of set up the reference. And it was an attractive little painting when I did it about 2 years ago. But I kept thinking I'd done it in monochromatic as well, and I looked through all my photography that I do of my finished paintings. I looked through my stacks of paintings. I don't see it, so I went ahead and did it because I wanted to, and I really like this scene, and I really wanted to do it as a monochromatic. Now, one thing that's very interesting about this, and is that it's all done with Mars Black. Now, I have worked with Mars Black in a monochromatic before. I'm not even sure if I put that one up. I kind of am aware that the monochromatics aren't really as popular as the color on the channel. And, I know why. Because people are attracted to color. If you want to sell your work, make it colorful. But I want to go ahead and indicate to you guys that you go back 2 videos, you can see how I turned a monochromatic into a beautiful blue painting with just a couple swipes of some glaze and coming in and touching up a few things. So you could easily go. What doesn't seem to work is to go warm and gold with the black, gray black sort of thing, but cool is absolutely fine. You can make a purple painting, a green painting, a blue painting. I don't think there's any real issue. Even cool red, I'm sure would probably be alright. Or you could use it as a basis for a full color painting over the top. Or you could just leave it as a monochromatic, which is what I'll do. I've sold a few. And I like them, and that's why I do them. And I'm a fine artist, not a commercial artist, so a lot of times I have to follow that that inner drive, that inner guidance to do things instead of thinking, oh, well, I sold that last one that had a boat in it. I better put a boat in this one. I had a lady come into the studio the other day. It's like, you should put a goose. You should put a goose in that painting. And I was thinking, I wrote it down actually. I'm thinking, yeah, I know that would sell. Someone would buy it if I had a goose. People like things like that they can fixate on, that they can bring narrative into. And I don't really like narrative, so I don't do a lot of it. I mean, I love narrative. I love stories, and I love reading, and yeah, I guess I have to say old movies because it seems all the new movies are absolute crap. I don't know where these people are getting their writers from, but anyway, I digress. So, what's the value of monochromatic painting? Well, first of all, if you're into tonalism and you're watching me make tonalist paintings with 2 colors, that should be a big indicator to you that tonalism is actually more of a value structure than a color structure. So many people think that you can just make something a tonalist painting by rubbing some glaze over the top. It makes it kind of tonal. It does definitely make it tonal, but that to me is not tonalism. It's just glazing. And you got to be careful with that stuff, because when you start just randomly glazing paintings that weren't really intended to be glazed, they get dark, they get muddy. I remember reading a book on art a while back, and the guy was talking about how he was at a art show, and he said the guy next to him had what this author called tobacco stained paintings. Nobody wanted to know. Yeah, and I can see that. Anyway, we will be just very soon getting back into reading from Edgar Payne's Composition of Outdoor Painting. In our last video, we were reading some from his conclusion, which is a treatise on art and painting that is very good. If you don't own this book, you want to go ahead and buy it. Heck, if you're in the U.S., you can get used copies easily. It's harder for me out here in this island in the Pacific and the rear end portion of the planet. But I reordered new after my initial copy got destroyed in the flood, because this is one you don't really want to be without. It's a great book, and it's good. You can pick it up anywhere. You can open it anywhere and start reading and get some amazing wisdom. He's a great writer. I have to say, I think he's maybe a better writer than he is a painter. I have a giant book of his work, and quite a lot of it I like. Some of his stuff gets into what I call the chicklet school. I'm not really a fan, but of that approach. But I respect it, of course, and many people do like it, and there you go. So without any further ado, we're going to pick up on page 130. You can expect me to stop and riff. That's just how old Uncle Mike likes to rock and roll. So, relax, get a cup of tea, and let's listen to what old Edgar Payne had to say, with commentary by yours truly. I'll overlap a little here. He says he was talking about painters building their individual ideas of principles of art and painting, and fortifying their own artistic personal convictions. He says, as a matter of fact, opposite beliefs is one of the main influences in creating originality. Each artist has his own convictions and should always be prepared to defend them. Building up a personal viewpoint is one of the first things to do in the study and practice of art. Now, we said that last time, but that's really good to repeat. Sooner or later, every student must be decided in his views, at least to a reasonable extent. Everyone needs to be decisive enough to have independent judgment in forming concepts and building compositions. And let's face it, if you don't have an opinion, what kind of art are you going to make? You need to have ideas about things. You need to form opinions. Be ready to change them, though, if they're wrong. But you don't even need outside critics to do this. This is one of the reasons I'm most stressing to be painting all the time, because when you paint all the time, you'll create enough work that you'll just be getting better, and it'll be really evident what was wrong with the old stuff. Yeah. While the student may alter his ideas or even his style in painting, he still must have courage in his convictions. He cannot change to suit every idea that comes along. The quality achieved in any work must, in the last analysis, depend on the ideas and efforts of the student himself and the goal he has set. He is master of his own destiny as far as accomplishment in art is concerned. Learning the art of painting is not an easy task, and he's so right. This is, in our modern age, one of the places where you want to challenge yourself. Take on landscape painting. Yeah. It's going to be a lifetime project, and it's really fun. It's fun and it's rewarding because it's not that easy. It can be easy when you don't know how hard it is. But you'll figure out how hard it is soon enough. That's a, what do you call it? That's a bit of an inherent contradiction there. Learning the art of painting is an easy task, takes a great deal of intelligence, keen analysis, study, and practice. Even with this, there is never a full understanding of all factors or elements, nor is practice ever entirely satisfactory. So true. Since the approach to art is through a roundabout path, no doubt its first study is always confusing. To make the matter more difficult, the beginner generally cherishes praise from friends who as a rule know nothing whatever of art or its requirements. And let me translate this for you. Your mom says it's great. Your mom loves your painting, you know. Mom loves everything you do, yeah. And your friends, they lie to you because they want to stay friendly. Or if they don't even lie, they might actually just be impressed with the fact that you're doing something other than playing video games and watching television all day. So, which is impressive. That's an accomplishment of its own these days, and you are to be commended if you are endeavoring to do something positive and constructive with your time, instead of just being a spectator, instead of just being somebody that takes in content. You are creating content, which to me is the way to live. Early attempts at pictorialization usually develop a certain ego or pride, which is hard to set aside when the student is confronted with the study of real artistic essentials. Oh my God, this is so good. It's so true. Everything he's saying here is like true. It's like Rosetta Stone true. Changing the viewpoint under such circumstances is one of the most difficult of problems for both the student and his advisors. Ironically enough, the beginner can never see or realize the most important thing he should remember. That is, a simple, naive manner of approach to both study and pictorialization, that's his own word, must always be fostered. He generally wants to put this aside and use what he learns to paint pictures. Yeah, so how do we translate that? He's very eloquent, and I know what he's saying. You need to have a bit of a naive approach. I totally understand this. In a sense, it's almost like you know you're doing something, but you don't always know what you're doing. And I kind of see this as just sort of interacting with the universe. I mean, you do a stroke, the universe does a stroke. You build the painting together, you know. That naivete in art is really, really important, and you do. I've seen it in students. It's like sometimes one of the best things about their work is that it has a naivete to it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that my work is absent that naivete. It's kind of intrinsic to my personality and nature to have a certain aspect of naivete about things. And one part of my mind could be all-knowing and wise about everything, but there's another part that decides to just be open and let things happen. And for example, like I was saying at the beginning of this video, I wanted to do a monochromatic. I thought I'd done a monochromatic of this scene, and that's what I wanted to do. And there's two things pushing on my brain. You know, the other voice saying, well, you may not sell this monochromatic. People don't always understand it, you know, and who cares? My answer to that. Sorry for the helicopter. I think he's just passing over. The other voice is got the channel now. Oh, well, you know, not as many people watch the monochromatic videos. Maybe you don't want to do monochromatic. Well, whoever's going to watch the video is going to watch video. You've got to foster that and go in that direction if it's prompting you. Now, within reason, don't start painting little fluffy kitty cats in every scene, or unless you want to. I don't know, but I couldn't think of anything other than kitty cats. But you get what I'm saying. It's like you have a course of study, you have a course of practice, and it comes from a place of innocence, and innocence, sort of the wrong word. It comes from a place of purity and expression. That is what defines it as fine art. Your motivations are to create something beautiful and true and express yourself. And you should do this just in a fairly expedient manner and do it and then move on. Anyway, we're at the end of the video. Thank you for joining me today. We'll get back into this book real soon. And I really appreciate you joining me today. Check out the members area. There's a live version of this. Pretty awesome. Go to my website. Check that out. And until I come back with another video, please do me a favor. Take good care. Stay out of trouble.